So ever since Aniplex US announced their release of Cyberpunk Edgerunners on Blu-ray and the insane price tag attached to it, I've started referring to every home video release by how much it measures in the price of Cyberpunk. Like Devilman Crybaby is 3/4 Cyberpunk. Kaiju number 8 is half a Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is less than half a Cyberpunk. So the question really becomes, is it that expensive over the rest of the anime industry?
It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout here, and yes, it is time to talk about the Cyberpunk Edgerunners Blu-ray set from Aniplex US. Now, I'm going to go through a lot of things in this video, as well as talk about the set itself. This is like a combo review/analysis type video. We got a lot to talk about because the price of Aniplex Blu-rays for their Aniplex US releases have always been so exorbitant to me, I've never picked one up before. But then they never have put out a show like Cyberpunk Edgerunners before, which is a show I adore. I love the whole Cyberpunk universe that Mike Pondsmith created, and so I have, like, basically everything for it. I've got guidebooks, I've got comics, I've got the video games, I've got action figures, I've got a lot. So I did, of course, want Edgerunners on Blu-ray, but when that price got announced, it sort of made me hesitate for a couple days before I ultimately ended up buying it. And ultimately, the final result I got was not really satisfactory. So we're going to go through multiple things here. It's going to be a deep dive into the anime industry's pricing in North America for Blu-rays. If this is something you're interested in, be sure to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and the notification bell so you don't miss out on future Blu-ray videos. But let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about. So first things first, let's get some notes out of the way. First of all, of course, everything I talk about pales in comparison to the prices of Blu-rays in Japan. One of the things that Aniplex US does is they bring these quote-unquote same edition from Japan to other regions, and that's why they're more expensive. Now, that being said, this is like half the price of the Japanese set, so there is still a discount there. But we're not going to be talking about what is the price difference between the North American releases and the Japanese releases. We're going to compare North American releases to North American releases. Now, here's the thing in and of that. We're going to be just talking about anime because, you know, if we start comparing anime releases in North America to other North American Blu-rays, you're going to have to wonder why Britain's own shonen anime is $15 cheaper than this, and that is 6 TV seasons and 3 movies, hours worth of material, plus bonus features in a giant book, okay? That was $15 less than this. And that's why we're not comparing multiple formats. We're sticking just to anime. But on that, we need to have an equalizing barometer of pricing because the nature of Blu-rays, especially North America, is that everybody sets a list price and everybody except for Barnes & Noble sells under that list price by a certain percentage, and it keeps things competitive and fun. Now, that being said, we need to have a solid source. So because Aniplex US releases are exclusive to the Crunchyroll store, we're going to use Crunchyroll store prices, and specifically Crunchyroll store prices not including sales. There's a bunch of holiday sales going on. In fact, one of the reasons this video is a little later than I wanted it to be was because there was an Aniplex sale going on for a while. I had to wait for that to end so we could get the regular prices of these releases. And that's what I'm going to be using is the regular prices on the Crunchyroll store without the sales discounts applied. Naturally, all these prices are going to be in USD because that is where Crunchyroll store is based, and that is our usual barometer for everything going forward. Also adding to this, we will not be including the price with tax and shipping because that depends on where you live. We're going to go with the base price on the website. In addition to this, I am trying to pick the newest examples from multiple popular anime franchises to have an indicator of pricing across the board. I'm not covering absolutely everything out there. This is not a definitive list. It is simply to get an idea of if this Cyberpunk set is grossly overpriced compared to its peers within the same industry within the same region. So that's where we're going to begin. And in fact, let's talk about Cyberpunk Edgerunners first and take a deep dive into the set and figure out its price value. So Cyberpunk Edgerunners is an anime series that is spun out of the Cyberpunk universe and uses visual assets from the Cyberpunk 2077 video game. Edgerunners itself is a self-contained tale within Night City and was produced by Studio Trigger exclusively for Netflix. Aniplex picked up the rights to distribute it in multiple regions, including Japan. Now, here's the thing. Aniplex is owned by Sony. Sony also owns Crunchyroll. That's why all the Aniplex US releases are Crunchyroll store exclusives. That is something to keep in mind. I will be mentioning what companies own these things. And first things first, this is my first Aniplex US release, my first Aniplex release in general. And I gotta say, I'm a little underwhelmed by the quality. I've heard that at least the quality on Aniplex releases is good. This is not what I call good quality. I was kind of expecting something with a little bit more stability and sturdiness than this. First of all, everything falls out without, even if you're squeezing it, it's still going to slip because the actual slipcover isn't that exciting. If we go and remove the little banner here, which is removable to make it a little cleaner if you so wish. You see it says, Cyberpunk Edgerunners. It kind of doesn't really work. There's missing letters. But this whole thing here is very flimsy. In fact, it is flimsier than some slipcovers on some other things. And this is supposed to hold the whole set up, but it doesn't feel super great. Don't totally love that. Now, in terms of the physical packaging, we do have here new artwork created for the Blu-ray, which does feature some scenes from the series. So this is on the outside here. And then on the inside, you can see we've got the list of the 10 episodes. That is all there is, by the way, 10 episodes on 3 Blu-rays. Now, of note, the Japanese set was 4 Blu-rays. I don't know why ours is 3, but that is one difference between the two sets. That's not exactly the same because the Japanese set is 4 Blu-rays. That does seem like overkill. This feels like it could be 2 discs. It's only 10 episodes. They're not like extra-length episodes, for example. Now, in terms of bonuses, you get the final episode storyboard, which is a full storyboard for the final episode. That is neat. That is a flip through once, never look at again type thing. We also get an art booklet, which is illustration booklet, which you can see is super shiny and very thin. It only has a few pages here that briefly show some artwork. It does have some interviews in the back with the director and also the story writer and screenwriters for the series, as well as featuring some promotional artwork in addition to animation cells and episode breakdowns per episode with their staff. So you got that going on. That's kind of neat. Then we have the poster, which is a poster done for the 2-year anniversary of the anime. And this was new artwork for this Blu-ray set when it was released in Japan. And we can see here, it's pretty big. It's not the best paper quality. I've definitely seen better. You were going to have to do a lot of flattening out because of the way they folded it. But that is the poster. It's kind of a typical standard quality. And then in here, we've got a little folder. And this is probably my favorite physical bonus. And these are replica animation cells. So there's one of Lucy, and then we got one of David. And the kind of fun part is that these are 2 shots that are opposites of each other, of them shaking hands when they agree to work together. And then we got a shot of David and Lucy from the final episode. So pretty cool. Would have liked to even have seen more of these. I think 3 is nice, but more would have been appreciated. Especially because if we're talking about everything included, you're probably wondering, you keep complaining about the price, but what is the price on this set? So this set's total cost at full price on Crunchyroll store before shipping and taxes, $123.98. That is a lot of money for not that long of a show. This is a 10-episode series, and the physical bonuses are nice, but they're not like amazing, and the overall build quality leaves a lot to be desired. Plus, I would have really liked to have seen a slipcover on the outside of this, because this thing always feels like I'm going to drop the very expensive contents out of it at any given time. So that's the thing, right? $123.98 for this series. That is 10 episodes, which means its price per episode is $12.40. Because yes, part of the cost, of course, is the packaging. But the main reason people buy shows on disc is for the shows. So I'm going to be doing a price per episode for all of the things we look at to get an idea of what we're looking at. $12.40 an episode is a lot. And I'm sure a factor of this is Netflix tax. Netflix notoriously charges extra for licensing their series to home video. So it's kind of a lot. It is just a lot to say. But let's take a look at the on-disc contents, because I haven't mentioned if there's any bonus features, what language options we have, etc. How are the discs themselves? By the way, upon boot up, you do get a warning in Japanese before going into a warning for English about sale and rental use and stuff. That's all legal stuff. Plus the beautiful Aniplex logo. I always hate to see it coming. Alright, so here we have disc 1 for Cyberpunk Edgerunners, which interestingly, you have your play all, you have your chapters in place of the word episodes, which just only contains episodes 1 to 3 on here. Quality, video quality, audio quality, all that. Excellent. No complaints whatsoever from my side. Now, audio-wise, we have English, Japanese, Brazilian Portuguese, and Spanish all in 5.1, which is nice to see. And then for subtitle options, we have English, Brazilian Portuguese, and Spanish, or an off option. So pretty good on the audio lineup. Let's take a look at the other discs. All right, here we have disc 2. The menu loop is the same visual-wise. Episodes 4, 5, and 6 are on this disc. Same audio options as you would expect, as well as the same subtitle options. For those curious if Cyberpunk has a pop-up menu, yes it does. It allows you to access the episodes, the audio, and the subtitles, as well as going back to the top menu. And then for disc 3, it has, of course, episodes 7, 8, 9, and 10, the same audio options as well as the same subtitle options, though a distinctive lack of any bonus features. A text-less opening wouldn't make sense for Cyberpunk because, let me show you the opening. Yeah, see, if you take the credits and text off of this, it's basically nothing. They worked really hard to incorporate the text as part of the credits, so I'm not too mad about a creditless opening not being included. But a creditless ending would have been nice, considering the text here is more traditional credit style, and there's a lot of cool animation that's blocked by text. Another thing to note, there was a music video released for the ending credits song that features a canonical prequel story to this series, and that's not included either, though that would have been really, really nice to have. There's also several other features and music videos released in promotion with the show that could have been included, it seems, but instead we got absolutely nothing. So having 0 bonus features when there definitely was stuff to include, and not even having a textless ending, which seems pretty bare bones easy to do, makes the $124 price sting a lot more. If this thing was packed out with a ton of bonuses, it would have some value. If the quality of the packaging was stellar, it would have a lot of value. As it is, it's not matching up to the value of what we're looking at. And that's a big bummer. Also because for the US and North America, there is no standard release. This complete box set is all we're getting. The UK is getting a standard release because they got a different distributor over there handling the release of the show. And that's a bummer because I wish it was a lot easier to get this show because at $124, I can't recommend it. But let's compare it to other limited edition Blu-ray sets that we've gotten recently, because the next one we're looking at has a lot of similarities to Cyberpunk. Devilman Crybaby is a mature-rated 10-episode anime that debuted on Netflix that went all the way around Japanese censorship laws by being a streaming exclusive tailored for the global market, and was released in a limited edition by a company who's distributing in North America. Yes, Devilman Crybaby is essentially the same exact situation as Cyberpunk Edgerunners. They're two peas in a pod. But the difference is, where the Cyberpunk Edgerunners set did not feel worth the price, I kind of feel like the Devilman Crybaby one is. Let's dive into it. So first things first, the Devilman Crybaby Deluxe Edition. There is no current standard edition announced, but there could be since they labeled this one Deluxe Edition. This set was released by All the Anime under their Anime Limited label in the UK, and then in North America it was distributed through Shout Factory. Now, this set cost $94.99. Which is still a lot of money for a 10-episode series, giving us a price per episode of $9.50. Is that Netflix tax? Most likely. Now, that being said, the quality on display here makes me feel like I got my money's worth a little bit better. So first of all, we have a nice shot of Devilman in embossed foil on the front, and on the back, we have a nice shot of Satan in embossed foil, which is really cool. So you got your main hero and your main villain. Along the top, it does say Devilman Crybaby Deluxe Edition, and along the side as well. This is a very nice chipboard box. If we take the contents out, which slide out easily, but not too easy. I was complaining about Cyberpunk, they slide out too easy. If you grip the box, they're not going anywhere. If you let go, they will slide out. All of this is in a very, very nice sturdy box. It's not the sturdiest I've ever felt, but definitely a lot sturdier than Cyberpunk. On the back here, we do have our layout of features. This is a very prominent TVMA. These are region A and B discs. Now, inside, we do have the discs themselves presented in a hardback case with a really cool illustration across the whole thing that I might have to censor in some spots now that I'm looking at it. And then on the inside, we have the 2 Blu-rays with the 10 episodes, 1 to 5 on one and 6 to 10 on the other. And they do have the 18 rating in the UK. Also, as a side note, Cyberpunk had those plastic trays that we're kind of used to on a lot of older releases. These spindles are different. I've seen these on a couple UK releases before, but basically they're kind of a soft plastic spindle, and then they're cut out from the cardboard, which means you kind of get a nice, like, easy clip. I think it's much better than those slide-in slots that we see on a lot of releases, or just having, like, you know, the full plastic sheets. I'm sure this is a little bit more cost-effective, but I really like these. I've had zero issue getting these discs in and out. And then what's cool is the other physical bonus is the Devilman Crybaby art book. You can see the 4 main characters there as teenagers and then as children. And this is a full art book with development artwork, promotional artwork, storyboards, sketches, and then the back an episode-by-episode breakdown with comments as well as comparisons to the manga, and then interviews with several people involved. One of my favorite being there is a track-by-track breakdown by the composer of the soundtrack. And so you've got all of that in one nice booklet. It's not hardcover, but it's a pretty sturdy paperback, and that has a lot of significant material on it. But of course the question comes, is there any on-disc bonus features for Devilman? When you boot up the Devilman Crybaby Blu-rays, it gives you an option for English or French. Alright, so we have a menu that plays the opening credits to the series. We have a play all option, episodes, which has 1 through 5 listed there. Of course, we got setup, which is basically just 2 options, Japanese with English subtitles or in English. Pretty basic there. For extras, you do get a clean version of the opening that doesn't have the opening text credits. It's kind of similar to what is playing on the screen here. And then for disc 2, we have a play all. We have the same setup as before, as you would expect, as well as episodes 6 through 10. And for those curious, it does have a pop-up menu to access the episode list pretty easily. For fun, let's check the French menu out. First of all, the warning is now in French. And then here it just has play and episodes. And I will check and see. The episodes are in French, but I'll see what audio is used. So on the French side, it's Japanese only, but with French subtitles. So there's definitely at least another subtitle option, but only French and English. Those are the only subtitle options we have on this set. So at $95, this is still very expensive for what you're getting. It is not that big on runtime, though I do think the physical contents are very nice. The art book has a ton of background info. It's even got original creator Go Nagai talking about how he created Devilman in the first place. I find that stuff to be super valuable, but it may not be the case for everybody. So hopefully there is a standard release that is much cheaper to follow in the future. It's still a better value than Cyberpunk, but not the best value we could have. Is there another monster-related anime series that came out recently in a limited edition that holds a better price value? Kaiju number 8, Season 1, Limited Edition. Very recently released by Crunchyroll, who is also owned by Sony, just like Aniplex. This set is one of my favorites of the year because this is kind of what I've been looking for this whole time. So Kaiju number 8 as a series is an adaptation of the popular manga, which just wrapped this year, and has 2 seasons currently, so this is only the first chunk of the series. Now, it has been distributed by Crunchyroll and dubbed by them so far. Adding to this, it doesn't have any Netflix restriction as it is something that Crunchyroll owns the direct license for. It's not a sub-license, which is really cool to see. Now, adding to this is a 12-episode season as opposed to the 10-episode sets we've looked to so far. The price on this set, $75.98. That is giving us a price per episode of $6.33 an episode. That is a much better price value. Plus, we have the physical content we'll look at in a moment. And if you wanted to just get the series and not worry about the extra physical bonuses, the standard edition is $55.98, the same exact disc contents, giving us a price value of $4.66 per episode. So there is a lot more options when it comes to Kaiju number 8, and that is nice to see. So first things first, let's take a look at the limited edition set. We have a really cool plastic slipcover over an image of Kaiju number 8 himself. You can see how it has kind of a wraparound feature. Does show what's on the back It shows what's inside on the back. I don't know what I was saying by saying what I said. Anyways, you pull this off and you get a really cool image. And the other cool part is that all the lightning effect on the image is glow in the dark. So you can charge it up, you can have it glow on your display, which is super cool. Adding to this, you got the Crunchyroll and the Toho logos down there. You can see on the spine, Kaiju number 8 Season 1. And on the back, you do have a really cool silhouette of Kaiju number 8, which is based on a manga art piece that is also glow in the dark, and it does have the Seek shelter locations as well. Plus, we've got the contents within. Very, very good slip box feel to it. Very good quality. Feels even a little bit of step up from the Devilman set. All right, so here we have the Blu-ray itself. We've got Kafka Hibino on the front, Mina Ashiro on the back. Inside, we have the 2 Blu-ray discs featuring the 12 episodes for the series. We got Kaiju number 8 on one and Kafka on the other. And then on the inside, pictures of Reno, Kikoru, and Hoshina. So that makes it a pretty cool lineup of the main cast on the cover here. Now, the actual standard edition is going to be the same exact discs, but this inner cover art, I believe, is exclusive to the limited edition. So I think that's pretty nice. And I do like that it's a standard Blu-ray case. If you're not going to do something like the Devilman or the Cyberpunk on these things, I like when the Blu-ray's in a standalone case. This also means if you did want to just put the Blu-ray on your shelf without the box set, you have that option too. And maybe if they don't do future limited editions, you could fill this up with like 3-4 seasons. All right, we do have some physical bonuses here, but let's talk about the art book first. The art book here, Kaiju number 8, Investigation Report Secret, is a very thick art book, topping out at 160 pages. That is 20 pages longer than the Devilman one. On top of that, you get some really cool color images. You get some background info on the series itself, and it is a combination of all the limited edition booklets from Japan translated to English. So you get interviews with the series screenwriter. You also get a character-by-character breakdown, an episode-by-episode breakdown, storyboards, sketches, kaiju designs, location designs, animation cells. Then you go into the second book and you get an interview with the art director and CG director, as well as the regular director, and all that stuff included, plus music interviews and all kinds of behind-the-scenes info. You are packed to the brim with all kinds of great stuff, and it's in a very nice paperback art book. No complaints there. Then you get the bonuses, and this includes some really fun stuff. None of this stuff is what I would call essential, but it just kind of adds to the value and also is just sort of fun to have. First things first, the classic anime collector's edition standard art cards. Got one for Kafka, one for Mina, one for Reno, one for Hoshina, and one for Kikoru. And these are pretty nice quality. They actually have a little bit of a curve to them because they're a little bit glossy. The characters are glossy, the rest are a matte backing, which is pretty cool. We also get a metallic art card, which is actually a chunk of metal with Kaiju number 8's image on it, which is super cool and really fun. Feels really nice. And then an acrylic standee of Kaiju number 8 exclusive to this set, which allows you to put him in a standee situation with a little danger wrap on it. I can finally put this together now that I got this video done. I was waiting to show this off like this in the video before I put it together and stick it on my shelf. These are fun bonuses. These are not what I would call essential, but they add to the value of the overall set. So basically what I'm kind of looking at here is that when it comes to a set that has a standard edition, I don't question, ooh, do I want to spend that much money on the set? The question I ask is, does the limited edition come with enough stuff to justify the extra cost? And in this case, for 20 bucks more, you get the fancy chipboard box of the glow-in-the-dark, the 160-page booklet, the 5 art cards, the metal card, and the acrylic standee. Heck, that's a deal in my eyes. I'd much rather spend the money on this set than the standard. That goes for me. But of course, let's take a look at the discs themselves and see if there's any downsides or bonus features. All right, disc 1, a Kaiju number 8. Pretty simple menu, just a still image with some options. But for options, we have play all. We have episodes, which is episodes 1 through 6 of season 1. For setup, we have English and Japanese, subtitles on and off. Now, the way this works is that if you select Japanese, it'll turn subtitles on. If you select English, it'll turn subtitles off. You can't turn the subtitles off with the Japanese on, probably some restriction from Toho. For bonus features, there's a series of promo videos included. And these even include the vertical aligned social media promos, which is neat, and they are fully subtitled. And because this isn't a given with Crunchyroll releases, on-screen text is subtitled on both versions. All right, for Disc 2, of course, we've got episodes 7 through 12, which are the rest of Season 1. For those curious, there is a pop-up menu to access episodes and setup, of course, going back to the main menu. Setup options are exactly the same. And for bonus features, we get music videos, textless opening song, and a textless ending song, which textless opening and ending is like standard anime stuff, which is nice to see. The music videos are a nice inclusion. And these music videos are clips from the series synced to tracks from the soundtrack. So far, out of the 3 sets we looked at, this is absolutely the one with the best value in my opinion. Let's look at one that's similar, but doesn't have as good of a value due to its initial selling price. Chainsaw Man Season 1 Limited Edition is not what I bought. This is the Steelbook Edition. Let's talk about the Limited Edition for a moment. This was released by Viz Media under a sub-license from Crunchyroll, which I've never seen before and confuses me because it's kind of a big hit for Crunchyroll, but Viz does the manga, but they do the manga for Kaiju number 8, so I don't know why Crunchyroll sub-licensed it to Viz, but that is the case. This contains all 12 episodes of Season 1 for $79.99 when it initially went up. It's on sale for $70. It's also cheaper in some other stores because it's not exclusive to Crunchyroll store like the Kaiju number 8 or the Cyberpunk set. So at $79.99 with 12 episodes, that is $6.66 per episode. That almost feels intentional. The set itself, physical bonus-wise, is just a fancy box with lenticular imagery and a booklet, and basically nothing else, which is kind of a bummer. There also is no standard edition for Chainsaw Man Season 1, time of recording, but there was a steelbook exclusive to Walmart, and this contains the same exact discs and was only $39.96, meaning $3.33 per episode. It was half the price of the limited edition, so of course I jumped on this one. And it's actually a really nice steelbook. You got a good image of Chainsaw Man there. You've got this really fun flavor text on the back. It's like, oh, the instructions on how to handle your Chainsaw Man. But you can pull the slipcover off, and, it feels, honestly, like a little sturdier than the Cyberpunk slipcover. And then inside you've got the 2 discs, which are, Chainsaw Man. They actually call it Volume 1 instead of Season 1, because I have a feeling the Rize Arc movie is going to be labeled Volume 2, since that's a volume. And then Season 2 would be Volume 3, for example, if they do make a Season 2. But you can see the characters inside there. This is a really nice set. It's a lot more stripped down than the limited edition, but it's also half the price, and you're getting basically the same disc contents. This is much better price value. Kind of makes me wonder why they undercut themselves so much with that. But let's take a look at the discs and see if there's any upsides or downsides to them. I find it very funny when you can see the Crunchyroll logo on a disc, followed immediately by, technically one of their competitors, Viz Media. It's so bizarre. I've never seen that before. So for Chainsaw Man Disc 1, it has a menu, which is the characters in a theater, which is pretty cool. You have a play, you can hit episodes, and it's got the first 6 episodes there. For setup options, we have English with subtitles off, English with subtitles, English with songs and signs, Japanese with English subtitles. Don't need to do all that. The Kaiju number 8 had a pretty nice, easy system for that, but at least you can turn subtitles on for the English dub, which means you do have captions for hearing impaired, and then the songs and signs allows you to have, the subtitles with the songs and signs translated, which is nice to see. Now within the episodes themselves, you can pull up the pop-up menu and switch your setup to however you wish for whichever language option. Alright, for Disc 2, our episodes, of course, are 7 through 12. Same language options as we had before. And then for extras, we have character artwork, copyright artwork, publicity artwork, and episodic storyboard artwork. So this is just galleries of artwork based on the series, which is really awesome. Now, we don't get any textless opening or endings, which it would have been nice to see. I sort of understand the endings because every single episode had a different ending credits animation, which is a little nuts, but kind of weird they didn't include those. Don't know if that is a licensing thing, but at least we got these cool galleries. I like galleries. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with my steelbook for Chainsaw Man. The limited edition would have been cool, but it needed to either come with more or be a whole lot cheaper. Next, I want to apply the same price value model to upcoming sets. They have not released yet, but they're very similar to ones that have come out, so we can kind of look at them from afar. First of all, we have the Bleach 1000-Year Blood War Part 3 Limited Edition, released by Viz. It's not sub-licensed from Crunchyroll, meaning that its price is $64.98 for 14 episodes, giving us a price value of $4.64 per episode. It has English and Japanese audio with English subtitles. For bonus features, there's a New York Comic Con 2024 panel, a look-back feature, a Reaper music video, a finale special opening and ending, promo videos, and trailers. For the physical bonuses, it is a fancy box and a booklet. There also is a standard edition releasing with the same exact discs for $44.98. That is a $3.21 per episode value. This seems pretty solid, and all the Bleach 1000-Year Blood War Limited Edition and standard editions follow this price model. Another set by Crunchyroll, Dragon Ball Daima Limited Edition, which is Crunchyroll, which is owned by Sony. This is got a price of $75.98, which is the same price as the Kaiju number 8 set. However, this contains 20 episodes, since it's the entirety of Daima, and that will be a $3.79 per episode price value. You get English and Japanese audio and English subtitles. Bonus features are textless opening and endings, and physical bonuses include 7 art cards, a sticker, and a fancy box. So that's basically the same price as Kaiju number 8. It's a little bit less fancy because you don't have like the glow-in-the-dark feature, you don't have the acrylic standee or the metal card, but in no art book, but you still get a good amount of stuff for that value. There will be a standard edition for Daima at $55.98, same exact disc contents, that is $2.79 per episode. This is a pretty good price value because it's like twice as many episodes as all the previous sets we've looked at. It's also one of those cases where I once again look at it and go, for 20 bucks, if I want to spend 20 extra bucks to get 7 art cards, a sticker, and a fancy box? Yeah, I think I do. So next I want to look at the rest of the anime landscape in North America. These won't be deep dives. I kind of want to just touch base on all of these. First of all, Naruto Shippuden is being put out on Blu-ray currently from Viz. These are not full remasters in HD, but they are upscales from existing materials. These have a pretty good price value. This is an older series that's already been released. It's kind of a re-release from DVD to Blu-ray, but it is still an upgrade. The Crunchyroll price on these is $40.48 per volume. There's 28 episodes per volume, giving us a $1.44 per episode price value. And they're pretty nice overall. They've been putting them out pretty consistently, and having, 28 episodes, 27 to 28 episodes per volume is nice. But all these include an art card as a physical bonus with a puzzle piece to a larger image, in addition to new cover art that connects side by side, which is really, really cool. Here's an example on the Naruto menus. There's the sliding images here. You get an episode list there, plus the setup that allows English subtitles, English strong signs, and Japanese with English subtitles. And this is what the pop-up menu looks like. It's nice, easy in the corner. Now, while not technically an anime, the Castlevania series is a Netflix animated series released on home video by Viz. Castlevania Nocturne Season 2 is coming up, priced at $31.48 for 8 episodes. Price per episode, $3.93. Definitely some Netflix tax involved, but these are pretty nice sets because I do have Season 1 here since Season 2 isn't out yet, but Season 1 has a nice slipcover, it's got a nice presentation, all the episodes are presented across 2 discs, and in addition to just only being the 8-episode show, there actually are some bonus features for this, which is not only surprising, but very welcome. Castlevania Nocturne's menu here, which you can see has clips from the series, the episode list there, and then the setup menu, which gives you English, Spanish, and then subtitles in English or Spanish. And it has a pop-up menu, which is nice and simple. Code Geass Lelouch of the Rebellion Season 1 is getting reissued by Crunchyroll, currently owned by Sony. The price point, $39.98 for 25 episodes, providing a $1.59 per episode price value. It will have English and Japanese languages, subtitles in English, bonus features including textless opening, ending, episode commentaries, picture drama episodes, and English voice actor interviews, plus a physical bonus of an art card. I also anticipate that is going to be a reprint of the Funimation release. Mine is from the fancy 2-season collection, but I think it's going to be the same exact discs, except the packaging is now going to say Crunchyroll instead of Funimation. One Piece is one of our popular shows and is one of the longest running. Let's talk about One Piece real quick. So One Piece is a little different than all of these. It's released twice. First, they release it as a season set. So first of all, for example, One Piece Season 14 Voyage 8 released by Crunchyroll for $35.98, contains 12 episodes on both Blu-ray and DVD, so if you want to get fancy, it's technically 24 episodes, but it's the same 12 episodes twice, so I'm only counting it as 12. That is a price per episode value of $2.99 per episode, which is pretty great. On top of this, every set gets re-released as a collection. So for example, One Piece Collection 39 is containing episodes 941 to 964. That is equivalent to the Season 14 Voyages 5 and 6. In fact, while the discs do look different, they are the exact same contents as those Voyage sets. So these are essentially re-releases, and they are coming in both Blu-ray and DVD, so this is an 8-disc set, even if you may never touch the DVD copies like me. What's cool about these is that with the collection sets, they're a little bit cheaper. Collection 39's standard price is $31.98, meaning that you're getting 24 episodes at a price value of $1.33 per episode. These also go a lot cheaper on other websites. Again, I'm just using Crunchyroll to keep everything consistent. Here's the first disc in One Piece Collection 9, which you can see is still Season 14 Voyage 5. That's how they've run it. You got Play All, you got Marathon Play. Episodes will give you the episode list in hilariously tiny font. And then Setup will give you English, Japanese, or English subtitles on and off. It works the same way as Kaiju number 8. You switch to Japanese, it turns the subtitles on. You switch to English, it turns the subtitles off. Now, Marathon Play is a feature that is unique. I've seen only to One Piece and some releases of Dragon Ball. And it is the coolest thing that should always happen with every shonen anime that's long running like this. Because Marathon Play will just play all the episodes on the disc, but they'll cut the openings, the recaps, and the endings and the next episode previews off, so you can just get a streamlined, just binge through the episodes option. I absolutely adore that. Every long-running series should have that option. My Hero Academia Season 7 Part 2 Limited Edition was released by Crunchyroll, owned by Sony. The normal price on this is $63.98 for 13 episodes on both Blu-ray and DVD, with a price per episode of $4.92. It has English, Japanese, audio, English subtitles. Bonus features include techless opening innings plus memories. Physical bonuses include the art book, art cards, and a fancy box that also has space for Part 1 of Season 7. There also is a standard edition with the same exact disc contents for $55.98. That's a $4.30 per episode and includes a DVD copy as well. Arcane League of Legends Season 1 Limited Edition Steelbook is released by GKIDS. This is not an anime by technicality. It's anime adjacent, but it's still a Netflix show. This had a price of $43.98 for the Steelbook, for a price per episode of $4.88. This did include English, Spanish, and French audio, and English, Spanish, and French subtitles, plus 10 featurettes and scene breakdowns. There also is a standard edition for $35.98, which is a $3.99 per episode, and there is a 4K edition for $44.98, same bonus features for $4.99 per episode. I threw this in for the sake of including a different company that released a Netflix show. Discotek Media is repacking City Hunter 2 into a complete set. It was previously released as 2 volumes, as you can see here. These same 5 discs are being rebundled together in a set for $63.96, which it is 63 episodes, meaning that is only $1.01 per episode. Now, these are Japanese only with English subtitles, but they do feature some bonus features. Digimon Adventure Season 1 was a brand new HD remaster of the original Japanese version of Digimon released by Discotek Media. The normal Crunchyroll price seems to be $55.96, though it does fluctuate, for 54 episodes, meaning the price per episode is $1.03. This is only in Japanese with English subtitles. The English dub is a separate set, but for bonus features, you get a clean opening and ending, episode ending cards, alternate next episode previews, promos, and art galleries. And then I was struggling to find an example of a Discotek release that was dual audio, both English dub and Japanese in the same set. So I went with Kenichi the Mightiest Disciple Season 1. I know it's an older release. Crunchyroll had it at a normal price of $47.96 for 25 episodes, with a price per episode of $1.91 per episode, with English and Japanese languages, subtitles, and I believe a little bit of bonus features. So I know that was a lot of information, but what I want to do now is rank the price per episode value of everything I just talked about. So here it is. I ranked everything as price per episode. Let's throw it up on the screen. Okay, so the best price value out of all of these was City Hunter at $1.01 per episode, and the worst price value is Cyberpunk at $12.40 an episode. Even Devilman is a close one at $9.50 an episode, but that's still a big gap between it and Cyberpunk. And Chainsaw Man is number 3 at $6.66 per episode for the limited edition. And these are all the limited edition prices for everyone wondering. That is the ranking. Now, here's the thing I want to analyze as well. Is Cyberpunk really that expensive, or is that just Aniplex's whole deal? And like I said, I've not picked up any other Aniplex sets, and I've heard from many people that the Cyberpunk set being low quality in the packaging is not common for Aniplex. They're usually very high quality to justify their prices. But we're going to be focused on price per episode as well as contents here. First of all, the most recent Demon Slayer release, the Hashira Training Arc Limited Edition, released by Aniplex US, owned by Sony, is a normal price of $111.98 for 8 episodes. Now, the length of the first and last episode of the season was double length, so I'm actually going to say this is 10 episodes for the sake of keeping everything consistent across the board. So that's going to be a $13.99 per episode if you're going by episode count, but $11.20 per episode if you're going by length. So that's definitely a lot closer to Cyberpunk's price. For languages, there's English and Japanese. For subtitles, English. For bonus features, which, remember, Cyberpunk had none, we have a textless opening ending, commercials, trailers, premiere screening, highlights, and the soundtrack. Man, if Cyberpunk came with a soundtrack, I wouldn't even be complaining anymore. The physical bonuses include a fancy box and accordion books. Now, there is a standard edition, not released by Aniplex, but by Crunchyroll, for $55.98. That is $6.99 per episode if you're going by the episode count, or $5.59 per episode if you're going by the actual episode length. I went and picked a couple other recent Aniplex releases. Sword Art Online Alternative Gun Gale Online 2, the complete series, released by Aniplex for $131.98 for 12 episodes, meaning its price per episode is $10.99 per episode. English and Japanese audio, English subtitles. Bonus features include textless opening and ending, commercials, and audio commentary. Physical bonuses include a booklet, eye-catch postcards, and a fancy box. There is no standard edition option. Blue Exorcist: The Blue Knight Saga, released by Aniplex, was $119.98 for 12 episodes, giving a price per episode of $9.99 per episode. Languages include English and Japanese, subtitles include English. Bonus features include textless opening endings and commercials. Physical bonuses include a booklet, a recipe book, original illustration envelopes, postcards, and a fancy box. There is no standard edition. Now, that's all I'm going to mention for series, but I had to mention the really dumb Gurren Lagann the Movie Childhood's End / The Lights in the Sky Are Stars 4K set, because this was $135.98 for 2 movies. And you're probably wondering, if it's 2 movies, why are there 4 discs? A ton of bonus features? No. The Japanese audio is on one set of 4Ks, and the English audio is on another set of 4Ks. That's just bumping the price up for no reason. Audio tracks exist. And that means also your price per movie is $67.99 per movie. And then you have English and Japanese audio and English subtitles. Bonus features are simply just textless opening endings and commercials. And the physical bonus is not even a fancy box, just a booklet. I think out of all of these, without knowing much about Gurren Lagann, I think the price value on the Gurren Lagann movie set is by far the worst, like out of any Aniplex set I've seen. But we're talking about price per episodes and ranking them, so I can't really include it. I just had to include the absurdity because I don't even like Gurren Lagann, and I find that to be absurd and a little bit offensive. By the way, when I said I don't like Gurren Lagann, I tried it. It just wasn't for me. Just wanted to make that clear. I just had a feeling as soon as I hit the stop recording, I was going to get a lot of comments. But let's go with this information, including into this Demon Slayer, Sword Art Online, and Blue Exorcist, into the ranking of the previous Blu-rays. Let's look at the 19 things we talked about, ranked on their price per episode value. Put it up on the board. Yep, okay, so the top 4 spots are the top 4 Aniplex releases we took a look at today. Yes, that is Aniplex pricing in a nutshell. Everything else stayed in ranking. Devilman is number 5. Everything else stayed in the same exact ranking from the way down. Now, with all that said, Gurren Lagann movies aside, we're talking TV shows. Look who's still at number 1. Cyberpunk is still the highest price per value, even amongst the insanely high-priced Aniplex US releases. Meaning that I picked my first Aniplex US release to be the most expensive and most overpriced, but probably the most undervalued at the exact same time, because, I'm kind of jealous of the fact that all those other Aniplex releases at least had textless openings and endings and commercials. This got nothing. So with all that said, are these releases overpriced? Yes, kinda. Actually pretty good. That Steelbook's a nice price. Yeah, anime is going to be expensive in North America. It's been the case since the dawn of time. At least I can be glad that we're not getting $70 4-episode VHS tapes. Though I also noticed that, like, I wouldn't say all Aniplex US releases are still in stock, but, like, I could get all the Demon Slayer Aniplex limited editions on Crunchyroll, so how limited are they in the end? And they just did a sale on them, so if you're wanting Aniplex sets, definitely go for a sale. But on that note, I hope you did enjoy this video. If you have any thoughts, leave them in the comments down below. Just keep it civil, keep it nice. But that being said, if you want to keep up with future videos on the channel, hit subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss out. Hit the like button while you're down there. Helps the video, helps the channel. I appreciate it immensely. If you want to continue the conversation, we do have a Discord server. You can join in the link below. You can also join as a channel member and get perks like early access to videos while helping to support the channel directly. Let's give some special shoutouts to our channel members. Special shout out to all our channel members, including Captain Tier, Spendash54, Masterbin95, Forever1000, Super Shadix Boom, Veloquence, Rogue Leader 2448, Mr. Smelly Potato, Archive, Rivers, Common Pikachu, Jamie's World, Showbiz NCNA, Ek M, Basil Expedition, Blade, Kyle Birdwell, Alice James, Doge9789, Fernando Pereira, Levante Jackson, Adrian Montanez, Gobro Fam, C. Hoffman, B. Tub, Killer Noctokusatsu, Amananiqua Do Tempo, Justin Giovanni, and Sonic Doctor. Thank you all for your support of this channel, members and viewers alike. If you so wish, I'm on social media on Blue Sky and Letterboxd at Soundout12. You can also find my awesome graphic designer on social media and Discord at DarkClaw643. And you can find Hero Club at hero-club.com for entertainment, interviews, reviews, and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying, wonder what that Kaiju number 8 Season 2 set's going to look like.